If you're a Dodgers fan, you might want to sit down for this one, because what we're about to talk about could completely change the balance of power in Major League Baseball. Imagine an outfield so explosive, so fast, and so dangerous that pitchers across the league start losing sleep before even stepping onto the mound. That's exactly what could be happening right now, as the Los Angeles Dodgers are reportedly making a massive move to bring in one of the most electric players in baseball, Byron Buxton. And if this deal actually goes through, we could be looking at the scariest outfield in the entire MLB. Before we break it all down, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to stay locked in for the latest Dodgers news, rumors, and blockbuster trades that nobody else is talking about like this. Now let's get into it, because this is where things start to get wild. The Dodgers are no strangers to big moves. Year after year, they find ways to stack talent, whether it's through smart trades, elite development, or headline-grabbing signings. But even by their standards, this potential move feels different. This feels like a statement. A warning shot to the rest of the league that they are not just trying to win, they are trying to dominate. And bringing in Byron Buxton? That's not just adding a player. That's adding a game changer. When you think about Buxton, the first thing that comes to mind is speed. Elite, game-breaking, highlight reel speed. This is a player who can turn a routine single into a double, steal bases at will, and cover ground in center field like almost no one else in the league. But that's just the beginning. Because when Buxton is healthy, and that's always been the big question, he's not just fast, he's dangerous. We're talking about power, defense, and athleticism all rolled into one. A player who can hit towering home runs one inning and rob one in the next. A player who changes the entire dynamic of a game just by being on the field. Now imagine adding that kind of player to a Dodgers lineup that already features superstars like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. Let that sink in for a moment. You've got Betts, one of the most complete players in baseball, who can do literally everything at an elite level. You've got Ohtani, a generational talent who brings unmatched power and presence. And now you're potentially adding Buxton, a player who can stretch the field, create chaos on the bases, and lock down center field like a human highlight machine. That's not just an outfield. That's a nightmare for every opposing team. Pitchers would have nowhere to hide. You walk one guy, and suddenly you've got another MVP-caliber player stepping in. You tried to pitch around the power, and Buxton turns a mistake into an inside-the-park possibility. You hit the ball into the gap, and suddenly it's not a double anymore because Buxton just ran it down like it was nothing. This is the kind of move that doesn't just improve a team, it reshapes the league. But let's talk about how this could actually happen, because trades like this don't come easy. Buxton is currently tied to the Minnesota Twins, and while he's been a cornerstone for them, there have always been questions about his long-term role, especially with injuries playing a major factor throughout his career. When he's healthy, he's elite. There's no debate about that. But staying on the field has been the challenge. And that's where the Dodgers come in. The Dodgers have built a reputation for taking calculated risks on high-upside players. They have the depth, the resources, and the infrastructure to manage players, optimize performance, and maximize value. If there's any team that could unlock the best version of Byron Buxton consistently, it might just be Los Angeles. Think about it. With the Dodgers' medical staff, analytics team, and depth across the roster, they wouldn't need Buxton to carry the entire load. He wouldn't have to play every single day at full intensity. They could manage his workload, keep him fresh, and deploy him in situations where he can have the biggest impact. And that's a scary thought. Because a healthy, optimized Byron Buxton in a Dodgers uniform could be one of the most dangerous weapons in baseball. Now let's break down what this outfield could actually look like. You've got Mookie Betts, who can play multiple positions but would likely slot into right field or move around depending on matchups. You've got Byron Buxton in center field, covering massive ground and bringing elite defense. And then you've got Shohei Ohtani, who, while primarily known for his pitching and hitting, adds another layer of offensive firepower that makes this lineup almost unfair. And that's not even mentioning the depth pieces the Dodgers already have. This is a team that doesn't just rely on stars. They build complete rosters. So even if Buxton needs rest, they have players who can step in without a massive drop-off. That's what makes this move even more dangerous. It's not just about adding talent, it's about adding talent to a system that already knows how to win. And let's be real for a second. If this trade happens, the rest of the league is going to have to respond. Teams like the Atlanta Braves, the New York Yankees, and others who are already competing at a high level would suddenly find themselves chasing a Dodgers team that just got even better. We could be looking at an arms race. Because when one team makes a move like this, it forces everyone else to rethink their strategy. Do they go all in? Do they make a counter move? Do they try to outslug the Dodgers, or do they focus on pitching to try and contain them? These are the kinds of questions that start popping up when a super team begins to form. And make no mistake, this could be the beginning of something very close to a super team. Now, of course, there are risks. The biggest one is health. Byron Buxton's injury history is well documented. There's no ignoring that. If he can't stay on the field, then the impact of this move becomes limited. But that's a risk the Dodgers might be willing to take, especially considering their track record. They've taken chances before. They've bet on talent, and more often than not, it's paid off. And when you look at Buxton's upside, it's easy to see why they would make this move. Because if it works, if he stays healthy, if he performs at his peak, then the Dodgers aren't just contenders. They're favorites. Clear favorites. We're talking about a team that could dominate offensively, defensively, and even strategically with the way they deploy their players. Imagine late-game situations where Buxton comes in as a defensive replacement, instantly improving your outfield coverage. Imagine pinch-running scenarios where his speed becomes a weapon. Imagine playoff games where one swing, one play, one moment from Buxton changes everything. That's the kind of impact we're talking about. And in October, those moments matter more than anything. This is where championships are won and lost. And the Dodgers know that. They've been close. They've had the talent. They've had the expectations. But they're always looking for that extra edge, that one move that pushes them over the top. Could Byron Buxton be that move? It's starting to look like a real possibility. And if it happens, the message will be loud and clear. The Dodgers are not satisfied. They are not slowing down. They are not rebuilding. They are going all in. So what do you think? Would this move make the Dodgers unstoppable? Or is the risk too big with Buxton's injury history? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those moves that could define the entire season. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another massive Dodgers update. Because if this trade goes through, you already know we'll be right here breaking it down the second it happens.